Teacher talking sports, what it does, what it do, how we living. I'm excited, guys. The Knicks just won their seventh game in a row. Um, Close game. Oh man, my heart rate's still going. Won by 3 points. 7 wins in a row. It's been awesome to see. If you look 2 weeks ago to the day, I made a video where I did a rant on the Knicks where I was just so disappointed they got blown out by the Mavericks. And since then, they are 7-0. Let's go. Oh man, just too excited. To be honest, I got so into the game that I haven't even kept super tabs of the 4 o'clock NFL games. That's usually why I go live on these Sundays to talk the week's NFL action. So, week 15 NFL. 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock games are in the books. Let's go through them and let's check out the playoff picture, predictions, take a look at next week's schedule, and things of that nature. Hope everyone's having an awesome Sunday. We are just a week away from Christmas. I have 5 more days of work until I have my winter break, so I'm excited for that. But let's take a look at some of these games. Of course, the first game I want to look at, man, just what an incredible game. Where are the Saturday games? Here we are. I got to witness NFL history in this one as Vikings down 33-0 at the half. Come back to win 39-36 in overtime. Unreal. Outscored them 22-0 in the fourth quarter. The largest comeback in NFL history, overtaking the Buffalo Bills, who, thank you, Alex, for coming by. Overtaking the Buffalo Bills, who had a 32-point comeback victory against the Houston Oilers in the playoffs in a game Jim Kelly missed. It was actually former Colts head coach Frank Reich that led the way to that comeback victory against Warren Moon and the Houston Oilers. You want me to hush on that game? We'll see. Maybe I'll avoid that game because I'm mostly going to talk about the Sunday games. But Kirk Cousins, 460 yards, 4 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson, another 123 yards and a touchdown. KJ Osborne, 10 catches, 157 yards. That's just going to be a game that I remember for quite a long time as the Vikings move to 11-3. Probably going to end up with the number 2 seed in the NFC. But, what a way to start the weekend's NFL action. There was 3 Saturday games. This was the first of 3. Just an incredible performance. Maybe I'll go through the other Saturday games. Well, let's start with the Sunday games, the 1 o'clock action. This game was close throughout, but the Eagles did prevail 25-20. Wasn't Jalen Hurts' best passing performance. Jalen Hurts, who came into the week as the MVP favorite in the NFL. No touchdown passes and 2 interceptions, but he did have 3 rushing touchdowns for the game. Justin Fields, of course, did his thing on the ground, 95 yards rushing, 2 touchdown passes, one to Byron Pringle, one to David Montgomery. A.J. Brown, 9 catches, 181 yards, including a 68-yard catch and run. But the Eagles moved to 13-1, so I believe the magic number for them to clinch the top seed in the NFC is just uno. One more win, or I think a Vikings loss, or Cowboys loss. Cowboys did lose. We'll get into that. So yes, the Vikings are the only other team that could be a 1 seed in the NFC. Desmond Ridder made his NFL debut. Maybe not his NFL debut, but his first career start. It wasn't a great performance. And the 2 bumbling NFC South teams, the whole division is bumbling, sees the Saints pull out a 3-point victory. As you see, Ridder in his first career start only completed half of his passes for 97 yards. Pretty atrocious. 3.7 yards an attempt. Tyler Algier had a great game, and Cordell Patterson also had a rushing touchdown. 231 yards rushing to 89 yards passing. Wasn't enough though. Juwan Johnson, tight end, now has 7 touchdown receptions on the year. Andy Dalton, pretty good performance. And Taysom Hill, 2 passes, including a long touchdown to Rashid Shaheed. So both teams are 5-9, and at 5-9, they're still only a game out in the NFC South. Pretty ridiculous there. Game as a Giants fan, I needed the Lions to lose, but I did not expect them to lose because Zach Wilson was starting for the New York Jets, and the Lions come away with the 20-17 victory on a late Brock Wright 51-yard touchdown reception. He had a key drop before that. It was his only catch of the game, and it came on, I think it was a 4th down or a 3rd and long, but a 51-yard touchdown reception, which was the go-ahead score. Jared Goff, not the best game, but the Jets are a very good defense. 252 yards and a touchdown. Zonovan Knight, Bam Knight, who has been a revelation for the Jets the past 2 games, was completely held in check. While Zach Wilson did have 317 yards passing, he had a lot of deep throws. It wasn't necessarily a good game for him. His QBR was 37.7, which I believe is actually above his season average. Garrett Wilson finally had a good game with Zach Wilson under center. 4 catches for 98 yards. I'm the big K. All right. Can't be the big O. Hopefully one day I'll be as big as him. But yes, the Lions moved to 500, and depending on who loses the Giants Commanders game tonight, they will be just a half game behind either of those teams for the 7th spot in the NFC. I'll talk about that game in a little bit. Let's go to Pittsburgh. So Mike Tomlin still has a chance to finish 500 or better every season of his career. Lions, let's go. Listen, if the Giants weren't battling for playoffs, I absolutely would be rooting for the Lions, but the Giants really needed the Lions to lose that game. I'll talk about the Giants game in a little bit. I do not expect the Giants to win. I've lost all my faith in them as a team, but I'll get into that in a little bit. So Mike Tomlin still has a chance to finish every season of his career 500 or better, as the Steelers move to 6-8 with their 24-16 win over the Panthers. So Steelers go 2-0-1 or 3-0 to finish the season. What is the remaining schedule? Let's take a look. Any tough games? Versus the Raiders, I mean, that's winnable. At the Ravens, I would guess Lamar Jackson would be back by then. And then the Browns. So, I mean, that Ravens game is going to be the one where they're clear underdogs. But if Lamar Jackson isn't ready, I mean, Tyler Huntley did not look good yesterday. I believe Tyler Huntley was a little bit overhyped. He performed well last season when Lamar Jackson was out, but Baltimore wasn't winning games, and he did not play good at all yesterday, as Baltimore only scored 3 points. But Mitch Trubisky with a solid performance, 17 of 22. Najee Harris and Jalen Warren with scores. As you can see, the Panthers had 0 running game going, which was frustrating because I took Deonta Foreman in FanDuel. 10 carries for 9 yards, 16 carries for 21 yards as a team. DJ Moore, 5 catches, 73 yards, and a touchdown. But even with the loss and falling to 5-9, the Panthers are still just a game out of first in the NFC South. Next, what a game this was. I was watching this on and off along with the Jets-Lions game. I did see the end of this game. An interception returned for a touchdown. Rashawn Jenkins was the go-ahead score in overtime as the Jaguars keep their playoff hopes alive with the 40-34 win over the Cowboys, who dropped to 10-4. Could have clinched a playoff spot with a win. It was a game that they led by a considerable amount. I believe their highest lead may have been 17 points. Could not hold on to the game. Trevor Lawrence continues playing excellent football of late. I remember I did a video on it 2 or 3 weeks ago when ESPN named their 25 best players, NFL players under the age of 25. They had Justin Fields on it, not Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I get it. Fields has been absolutely putting up absurd rushing numbers, but I'd rather have Trevor Lawrence. I wouldn't even think twice about it. And today, another 4 touchdown passes. Trevor Lawrence is really having a very good season after a subpar rookie year. Zay Jones has been a revelation as well for the Jaguars. Zay Jones and Christian Kirk have been a nice combo. Evan Engram, his second straight very good game. Last week he was awesome. Had another 8 catches for 62 yards. Had a great play where he fought to get out of bounds to stop the clock. So Fields hit 1K yards. Yeah, I mean, again, the Bears are a bad team, so I can't pit the losses all on him. But eventually you do have to win games. I'm going Trevor Lawrence over Justin Fields in that draft class. Who else is in that draft class? We got Zach Wilson, who's light years behind both of them. Let's be honest. And I feel like there's another one. Who else is a second-year quarterback in the NFL this season? Who am I missing? I'll think about it. Davis Mills, I guess. We still thinking Tua over Herbert. I don't know if Alex is still in here. Alex is a big Dolphins fan. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to look at the 4 o'clock games. I did not fully really watch the 4 o'clock games because I watched my Knicks win their 7th in a row. I actually waited to go live until the Knicks game was over. I did see the Chargers won. I'm going to look at the stats in a little bit. CeeDee Lamb, another very good game. Noah Brown, 6 catches, 49 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Cowboys, one of the rare teams where they could have 2 fantasy relevant running backs. I finished second in my league, so I had to bye this week. But I do have Ezekiel Elliott in my fantasy league, and I got to start him every week. 58 yards and a touchdown, 2 catches, 13 yards. But the Jaguars are just a game out of the AFC South. The division looked like they had no chance of winning. We'll get into the game that mattered to them in a little bit. And bold predictions here is a Chiefs fan. And just like last week, the Texans held tight as huge underdogs. The Texans were actually leading the majority of this game, but the Chiefs were able to win 30-24 in overtime. Harrison Butker missed the field goal that sent the game into OT. Is it just me, or is Harrison Butker really struggling this season? He was always one of the most reliable kickers in the NFL. Patty Mahomes, do you wonder if he will take back being the favorite for MVP in the NFL? 36 of 41, 336 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also had a rushing touchdown. As I mentioned, Jalen Hurts didn't have a passing touchdown, had 2 interceptions, but he did have 3 rushing touchdowns. But Mahomes almost completed 90% of his passes. Jerick McKinnon, man, how good has Jerick McKinnon been these past 2 games? 10 carries, 52 yards, and a touchdown. And 8 catches, 70 yards, and a reception. He's basically putting up wide receiver 1 stats for fantasy football the past 2 games, and he's a running back. Just incredible how he's been. Travis Kelce, another excellent game. Juju Smith-Schuster, 2 straight productive games after a quiet few games. Texans have been fighting valiantly. Let's give them credit. But with their another loss, they're pretty much assured the first pick in the NFL draft. I think they would have to maybe win out, or maybe if they go 2-1, there's still a chance they could get that number. Not the number one pick, but Texans definitely be looking for a quarterback. Will it be Bryce Young? Will it be C.J. Stroud? An ugly game here. We knew Colt McCoy versus Brett Rippon wasn't going to be a must-watch matchup. Colt McCoy left the game. Trace McSorley of Penn State came in and went 7 of 15, 95 yards and 2 interceptions. He's no Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, of course, was a third-string quarterback to start the season, as is Trace McSorley. Definitely not Brock Purdy-like in his performance today. Brett Rippon, a decent game, was at least accurate, 21 of 26. Latavius Murray, again, like I said, these guys were fantasy relevant like 5-6 years ago, the running backs on the Broncos. Passed Sharp for fourth all time. That's awesome. And he's, what, 32, 33? It's going to be hard to pass Tony Gonzalez because Gonzalez was just so relevant for so long. I think, what is Gonzalez, third all time in receptions? But again, Latavius Murray and Marlon Mack, who were fantasy guys in like 2018, 2019, are the Broncos' main running backs. Jerry Jeudy, after a 3-touchdown game, had 7 catches for 76 yards. Again, though, this game meant nothing. If anything, it hurts the Broncos' draft status. Actually, the Broncos don't have their first-round pick. It goes to Seattle. So Seattle's probably upset that Denver pulled it out. I heard about this game. Again, I didn't see much of the 4 o'clock games. Raiders tie it late on controversial TD catch by Keelan Cole. Wow. Just watching that replay, I don't think you could see it on the screen. I don't think I have it where it's up there, but I do see that is close. It's really small. I can't tell if Cole kept his feet in bounds, but I did hear Chandler Jones returned a lateral for a touchdown or something crazy like that. Mac Jones, that's the other second-year quarterback. And I forgot him because he has not been good this season. He really hasn't. 13 of 31 for 112 yards against a bad Raiders defense. The Raiders do not have a good defense. And Mac Jones, 3.6 yards per attempt. That's ugly. Ramondre Stevenson, awesome game. He's definitely been the Patriots' offensive star this season. As you can see, no Patriot receiver had more than 47 yards. Derek Carr spread the wealth in this game, as you can see. 50 yards, 48 yards, 40 yards, 28 yards, 20 yards. So a lot of, he's Bama brittle. We'll see. I think Bryce Young will be better than Mac Jones is, but I don't think it's a sure thing. Bryce Young doesn't really exactly have the prototypical size that you want from a quarterback, but we'll see how he does. Hey, how's it going? Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate it. Just going through the Week 15 NFL action. Your Eagles won, so congratulations to you. It was a close game for sure. But 13-1, definitely looking like they should get the 1 seed in the NFC, of course, which gets the bye. But the Raiders keep their slim playoff hopes alive. Patriots' playoff hopes definitely drop with this loss. Next, the fading. Bryce might be better than my guy Tua. I mean, that's hard to say. I mean, again, Bryce Young doesn't have the prototypical size that you want from an NFL quarterback. But Tua had been playing great up until the last 3 games. I mean, he wasn't bad yesterday, and the weather conditions were terrible. But Justin Herbert completed everyone is better than Tua, man. Justin Herbert, again, I did not get to see much of these 4 o'clock games because I was watching the Knicks game, but Herbert threw 2 interceptions without a touchdown, so did complete 2/3 of his passes, so not his best performance, and he had his weapons. He had Keenan Allen, he had Mike Williams, but the Titans are just completely choking. They were looked like they were easily going to win the AFC South with probably weeks to spare. And now, again, with the Jaguars' overtime win over the Cowboys, the Titans have just a 1 game lead. And if I am correct, the Titans actually, their last game of the season, yes, is at Jacksonville. They should win that Texans game, but again, um, the Texans have played really well the past 2 games and nearly beat 2 of the top 5, 6 teams in the NFL. Cowboys, definitely a tough game. And then at the Jaguars, who are the Jaguars' remaining 3 games? Let's see. We got at the Jets. If it's Zach Wilson again, that would be huge for the Jaguars. At the Texans and versus the Titans. Man, I really think the AFC South is going to come down to that final game. I definitely could see them flexing that game where that'll be the night game. Not exactly a marquee matchup by record, but it could be for the division. But Ryan Tannehill, another not so good performance. Derrick Henry, second straight game going over 100 yards rushing, but a much needed win for the Chargers as they are now in the playoff picture. I believe they might be the 6th seed. I'll look into that. And this game here, the Buccaneers jumped out to a 17-0 lead. Tannehill will choke. I agree. Even last season when the Titans were the number 1 seed in the AFC, nobody saw him as a threat because, Ryan Tannehill, you know what you're going to get from him. But Tampa Bay somehow still leading their division after another loss, 6-8. But the Bengals, big comeback victory, not quite Vikings-like comeback, but we're down 17-0. Joe Burrow, only 200 yards passing. That's a little surprising. Joe Mixon was completely held in check. But again, Jamar Chase, touchdown. Tyler Boyd, a touchdown. Mitchell Wilcox, a touchdown. And T. Higgins, a touchdown. So 4 touchdown passes by Burrow to 4 different players. Tom Brady did have 3 touchdowns to Russell Gage, but did throw 2 interceptions as well, as the Buccaneers got nothing going in the second half. Seriously, how lucky is Tom Brady that the NFC South is so bad? I mean, the second and third place teams lose today. The team that did win, the Saints, were in last. And, now all 3 teams are 5-9 a game behind Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's remaining schedule at the Cardinals. If they can't win that game with either Colt McCoy or Trace McSorley, Lord help them, versus the Panthers and at the Falcons. I want to see the Panthers win that division. I was hoping they would beat the Steelers. Didn't happen, but they're still alive because the Buccaneers just can't beat anyone at the moment. And with the Ravens' loss on Saturday, this win by the Bengals puts them atop the AFC North at 10-4. I believe they're currently they're definitely the 3rd seed in the AFC. That does it for all of the Sunday game action. Of course, my New York Giants play the Washington Commanders. So according to ESPN Analytics, as you see here, the Commanders have a 65.7% chance of winning. What's crazy is here, it says a 0.4% chance of a tie. After the last 2 times these teams met, I feel like that should be higher than 0.4%. But again, I just have little hope in my Giants the way they're playing. I hate being negative, but my Knicks won 7 in a row, so I'm happy about that. But like I tell the security guard at my school, he's actually a Giants and Knicks fan too. So sometimes after I drop off my students at like gym or music or whatever, I talk to him a little bit. And, I joke around with them that it's just impossible for the Giants and Knicks to both be playing good at the same time. As we see, the Knicks win 7 in a row, and the Giants have been completely floundering. But with the Seahawks loss on Thursday, even the loser of this game is still in the playoff picture. They will be the 7 seed, with the Lions and Seahawks both 500 at 7-7. The problem is the Giants lost to both. But then again, you know what? Tiebreaker is not even really going to come into effect because 0.4%. Let's go. The tiebreaker is not going to come into effect because the Giants have the tie. But again, Saquon has struggled of late. Barely averaging over 3 yards per carry in his last, let's say, 5 games. Just zero passing attack. Again, I would love to see Daniel Jones to allow Daniel Jones to unleash a little more. I mean, Giants have 4 games left in the regular season. We have to decide if we are going to bring him back, or if we're going to let him walk as a free agent and, maybe try to draft someone, or, maybe try to sign like a Jimmy G. They have really 4 games to decide, or 5 if they make the playoffs. But the Commanders, of course, been playing much better. I did read this morning, and I haven't seen an update, that Chase Young is not expected to make his season debut today. But Washington still has a nice defense. Unfortunately, the Giants' secondary is injury riddled. Terry McLaurin has dominated each time they play the Giants, and will be looking to do so today as well, tonight as well. So, of course, I'm hopeful my Giants will win. But if I had to pick a winner and I wasn't biased, I would take the Commanders. I believe, let me see if the spread's here. Yeah, 4. It actually was 4.5, I believe. Let them walk. I tend to agree, but I would like a fuller. I'd like to see more of him. Again, allow him. He is a dual threat. He does a great job extending plays with his legs. He's a great runner for a quarterback. They call him Vanilla Vic for a reason. But again, yes, he's had 4 years to really prove himself, and I'd say he hasn't done so, especially if the Giants don't make the playoffs. I tend to agree. He hasn't had the best offensive line, but his wide receivers aren't good as well. We already know Kenny Galladay has been arguably the most overpaid player in the NFL the past 2 years. But, let's hope the Giants could pull it out for my sake. A win definitely would give them a much better chance to make the playoffs. They still have a game against the Colts, the Vikings, and then they end with the Eagles, who again have a 2-game lead in the NFC. There's a chance that they could be resting their starters that game. Then our Monday night game has very little meaning. We got the Los Angeles Rams at the Green Bay Packers, giving the Packers a 79.1% chance to win. Packers have very slim postseason odds, but loss would basically do them in for the season. Then you wonder if you would see Jordan Love at all if Green Bay becomes eliminated. Los Angeles basically is eliminated if they're not. I think they aren't officially eliminated yet, but we'll get to see more Baker Mayfield tomorrow night after that 98-yard drive to win in last week's game. Let's take a look at the standings after Week 15 Sunday action. So 2 teams have clinched in the AFC. We got the Buffalo Bills and Kansas City Chiefs both clinching at 11-3. Right now, the Bills are currently the 1st seed because they beat the Kansas City Chiefs in a head-to-head matchup. Cincinnati Bengals would be the 3rd seed, and the Tennessee Titans are the 4th seed because they're leading their division. But again, just a game lead on the Jaguars. As you could see, they've been outscored by 38 points on the season. Meanwhile, the Jaguars have outscored opponents by 6. Then our our three wild cards. The top wild card would be the Baltimore Ravens at 9-5. And since the Chargers beat the Dolphins, the Chargers would be the 6th seed, and the Dolphins are the 7th seed. In the AFC, we got the Patriots and Jets both a game out, and the Browns, Steelers, Jaguars, and Raiders 2 games out. But the Jaguars are definitely have a much better chance of winning the AFC South rather than gaining a wild card. So the only 2 teams eliminated in the AFC are the Texans and Broncos. Take a look at the NFC. Again, Eagles at 13-1. Have not yet clinched their division, but again, 1 win or 1 Cowboys loss, and they win the NFC East. So right now, the 1 seed is the Eagles. The Vikings could have fallen to the 3 seed if it wasn't for their historic comeback, as they are now 11-3, 11-3, and have only outscored their opponents by 2 points on the season. Kind of ridiculous, but I think they're 9-0 in one score games this season. Kirk Cousins has 7 fourth quarter comebacks. So, has been very clutch this season. He's always joked about how he can't win in prime time. And while none of these games really have been prime time, he has been clutch to help guide the Vikings to that huge lead. That 11-3 record and the NFC North Championship. 49ers also have clinched their division. They are 10-4 to 3rd seed, and as we could see, that NFC South. Look at those point differentials in the NFC South. So actually, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been outscored by the most points in that division, but yet they're in first place. They've been outscored by 41 points and are 6-8. They're actually 6-3 against the NFC and 0-5 against the AFC, but have a game lead on all 3 teams in their division. I believe, yes, they beat the Saints both times, so they have the tiebreaker over them. So the Saints would need to win 2 more games than the Buccaneers the rest of the season, have a chance to win the division. The Panthers did win their 1 meeting this season, so they'll meet again. So if the Panthers could win that, they would have the tiebreaker, and the Buccaneers did beat the Falcons in the first matchup. If the Falcons win, there would be no tiebreaker there, but we could see divisional record. Buccaneers are 3-1, Falcons are 1-4, so it's likely that the Buccaneers would gain that tiebreaker. And our 3 wild cards, Dallas easily the top wild card in the NFC at 10-4. Right now, all 3 wild cards come from the NFC East. We got the Commanders and the Giants right now, staying at 6th and 7th in the division. Again, they will remain 6th and 7th. The winner 6th, the loser 7th of tonight's game. Of course, if they tie, the next tiebreaker would be divisional record, I believe, and Giants have yet to win in the division. But Chiefs versus Vikings Super Bowl. Maybe I'll give a Super Bowl prediction in a second. Let's see. I'd have to think about that. Really, the only other teams that have a good chance at getting that wild card is the Lions and the Seahawks. After that, if the Packers win, they'll be 6-8, and no one else is 5-9 or better. The Cardinals were eliminated today. Again, just 4 teams eliminated thus far: Cardinals, Bears, Texans, and Broncos. Super Bowl pick. I'm going Bills versus Bills versus I don't know. A large part of me wants to say 49ers. It's just, can Brock Purdy keep this up? And I think Kyle Shanahan's offense is just a perfect fit for him. And again, how much will he be needed? We even saw the last time that the Niners made the Super Bowl. Remember that game where Raheem Mostert ran the ball for 200 plus yards, and Jimmy G threw what, 8 passes. Um, you know what? Bills do a lot of Super Bowls. Bills, I mean, they haven't recently, but they did four in a row. They didn't win any, but they did four in a row. I'm going to go Bills 49ers. I'm for the NFC, it's either the Niners or the Eagles to me. Yes, Jill's really. I'm going Bills 49ers. Bills Chiefs in the AFC, definitely the top two. I know a lot of people would say the Bengals. The Bengals have beaten Patrick Mahomes 3 times in a year. I think that eventually ends. Yeah, I'm going to go Bills Niners with the Bills winning, but again, there's still 3 games, 4 games left for some teams. That's something I just quickly thought about. They missed last 4 and those 4. Listen, they've been due. They really have been due. Let's take a look at next week's schedule before I head off. And I know the Giants game is about to start. Thursday night, Jacksonville at Jets. That's actually a very important game for both teams. Of course, as I mentioned, Jacksonville just a game out of first in the AFC South. And the Jets are a game out of the playoff picture right now. Definitely need a win to stay alive. Let's see if Mike White will be back for that game or if we'll get another Zach Wilson game. Of course, with Sunday being Christmas, the majority of games for next week are on Saturday, Christmas Eve. Buffalo at Chicago. That's definitely a Buffalo win. Should be. New Orleans at Cleveland. Both teams have very slim playoff hopes. Houston at Tennessee. Again, this is absolutely must win for Tennessee against the worst team in the NFL, but that worst team in the NFL has performed quite admirably the past 2 games, so definitely not a gimme. Seattle at Kansas City. Seattle has been fading. They absolutely need a win to keep their postseason hopes alive. Meanwhile, Kansas City wants that 1 seed and a bye in the first round of the playoffs. Giants at Vikings. Let's see what the Giants could do tonight. If they win, this game won't be as must win as it would be if they were to lose. Again, the Vikings 11-3 have only outscored their opponents by 2 points, but you wonder if that 33-0 comeback just jump starts them for the rest of the season, gives them a jolt. And they perform excellent to end the year. Cincinnati at New England. Cincinnati looking to win that AFC North. Still have chances for that top seed in the AFC playoffs. Meanwhile, New England, much like the Jets, are a game out of the postseason. Detroit at Carolina. Big game for both teams. Carolina very lucky that they play in the world's worst division. And Detroit, again, will be either just a half game behind either the Commanders or the Giants for that last playoff spot. Started. Miles, thank you for coming by. Eagles 49ers. That would be a good NFC Championship game. I definitely that I think that might happen. Finns are dangerous. Yeah, but you've been on the Finns bandwagon a while, and they're dangerous, yes, but they're starting to fade. So Panthers are throwing it, but the Tampa Bay lost again. So like they're still there. Like that division's so bad that Carolina still has hope. So that Detroit Carolina game is huge for both teams. Atlanta at Baltimore. Baltimore better hope Lamar Jackson is back because Tyler Huntley isn't cutting it. Washington at San Francisco. Big game for Washington. But again, San Francisco's defense just looks scary good. Brock Purdy did a video on him. For second quarterback ever to have a 115 rating or better in his first 2 career starts, having Christian McCaffrey is just so huge for him, especially with Deebo Samuel out. Falcons, so yeah, neither team's that good this season. Not much at quarterback. Hill and Waddle are nasty. Waddle hasn't done much of late, but that might be quarterback play. Philly at Dallas. Um, Dallas needs to win to have any chance at winning the NFC East. Even if they do win, it's still highly unlikely. Las Vegas at Pittsburgh is the Saturday night game. Both teams are 6-8, barely on the periphery of the postseason hunt. So again, lose and you're out basically. Three Sunday games on Christmas. Of course, a huge NBA Christmas schedule as well, including my Knicks. Let's hope their winning streak's still going on. Packers at Dolphins. If the Packers were to lose tomorrow, could Jordan Love be starting in that game? Dolphins, losers of 3 in a row. They really need to get it together quick before they fall out of the postseason race altogether. Denver at Rams, meaningless game. Tampa Bay at Cardinals. Again, Tom Brady really is the luckiest quarterback ever this season. Gonna win his division most likely, even with how terrible his team has played and going against a Cardinals team, either with Colt McCoy or Trace McSorley at quarterback. Excuse me. And our Monday night game, Chargers at Colts. Will the Colts completely wilt after blowing that 33-0 lead? You got to imagine they're feeling at an all-time low. Chargers getting in the playoffs now for the first time in a while. Definitely should win that game. Let's take a look at the NBA Christmas Day schedule before I sign off. So we got three NFL Christmas games. We have five NBA Christmas games, starting with the 76ers and the Knicks. Look at my Knicks at 17-13. Again, 7-0 since I made a video doing a rant on them. So it's just been awesome to see. I had a really close game today. But 7 wins in a row. Lakers at Mavericks. Lakers, of course, did a video today on Anthony Davis. Out at least a month. Weren't exactly playing well to begin with. Will they once again miss the play-in tournament? Bucks at Celtics. Definitely the game of the day. The two teams with the best records in the NBA. That's definitely must watch. No attractive NBA day games. Do you not see Bucks Celtics? And excuse me, Knicks have won 7 in a row. That is attractive. You do not call my Knicks not attractive. But anyhow, Grizzlies Warriors. Steph Curry won't be around for that game. Grizzlies, I believe, still have the top seed in the Western Conference. Yeah, I agree. Joel Embiid, James Harden, Julius Randle, R.J. Barrett, Jalen Brunson. And we got Devin Booker fresh off a 58-point game last night against the two-time reigning MVP, the Joker, Nikola Jokic, 10:30, a.k.a. past my bedtime. So there's the Christmas Day schedule for NBA and NFL. I'm about to head off. I don't think I will be going live next week. Maybe I'll do a Monday live since next week is my winter break. Got to teach Monday through Friday this week and then have 10 days off, I think, something like that. So maybe I'll do a Monday live because Saturday I'm going out to visit family on Christmas Eve, and then on Christmas I'm visiting my aunt in Delaware, and we're not leaving till Monday morning. So maybe I'll do a Monday live next week where we could just talk about the Week 16 games that happened. All the games will be done except the Monday night game. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll go live Monday next week. Again, I'm off, but I'll probably wait till later in the day to do that. Like I do these. But I'm going to head off, watch the Giants game. Hopefully I could wake up happy, seeing my Knicks and Giants win. But again, like I mentioned, I don't have a lot of faith, but I hope I'm wrong. But thank you all for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. Always awesome doing these. Hopefully they grow as time goes on. Appreciate all of you. Again, like I end all of them. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend and subscribe. Like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out. Happy holidays, everyone. I'll talk to you all soon. Later, guys.